Hi Anil Bahirwani, how are you today?
Very good, Vicky. Thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. It's always very lovely and a great insight to share time with you learning about trading and investing world. We all know that you've been a successful entrepreneur over the last 25 years, highly focused on the financial markets, in fact, specifically FX. I mean, you have set the largest, FX retail brokerage company in Indonesia, and now, you've become a prominent liquidity provider as well. But this leads me to my first question, to ask you, what makes you venture out to actually become a trader now after setting a world-class platform and being a liquidity provider? How did this all start?
Trading has been my passion. I've been doing it for the last 25 years, and I've set up FX company in 2000 and then moved into managing liquidity provider business as well after a few years. From there, I have been always trading and managing risk, and since that time, the dream was always to be able to beat the system and start succeeding in trading, to be successful in trading. There are three principles. The first one is to think long term. Trading means being patient. You have to think of it as a business where investment takes time to grow. The most important is you have to be able to sacrifice short-term gains for much larger gains in the long run. Number two, risk management is the key. If you take care of the downside, the upside will take care of itself. The most important thing is to be able to make profits in a favorable market and not to give it all back in an unfavorable market. A lot of people make money and then at the end of the day, they lose it all back plus more when the market goes against them. Risk comes from not knowing something. Volatility generally becomes risk for all traders. But actually, if you understand it, it turns into an opportunity. And make sure you take advantage and bet big. The third principle is you have to have an edge. There needs to be second level thinking where you do things differently and better than others. Make sure you stick to what you understand so that you can see what people don't and you can do what people can't do. If you do the same like everybody else, your results will be mediocre. There is a Warren Buffett quote that I love. It says, "Be fearful when others are greedy, be greedy when others are fearful." Not everyone can do this. Doing things alone and against the crowd makes you really feel uncomfortable.
Thank you for sharing, Anil. Those are three solid principles. Just to summarize, the first point, think long term. Having patience will generate you much larger gains in the long run. The second point about managing risk, taking care of the downside is more important and the upside will take care of itself. And the third point, having an edge to be different and better.
In 2010, roughly, digital disruption started happening, which affected my revenue and volume. And that made me think, what is my plan B? What should I do? At that time, becoming a client was becoming cheaper. To be able to trade, it was becoming cheaper. So I started...
Cheaper meaning?
Lower spreads, lower commissions because of the disruption,
the disruption, right? Yes.
So I started thinking and going deep again into my trading world. So I went deeper and deeper. So I started doing some research. I started doing research on why only 25% of traders make money.
Okay. So it's seen as quite a tough industry, right?
Yeah, definitely. Go deep and check the human behavior. We have all the data from the brokers, right? So I studied the human behavior and everything on the retail side of the flow. And I found out that the main factor was not the trading in itself or the product. The problem was basically more psychological and emotional, where as a human being that has been the past problem for the last 100 years and probably it will be for the next 100 years.
Wow.
That's one of the main problems that is very difficult to fight.
So when does this happen? Is it like when markets are volatile, they panic, they don't follow their plan, or is that what we're saying?
When people are trading, markets are moving, there is volatility, they tend to go out deviate and overtrade, panic, make rush decisions, not becoming rational. Because to begin with, they don't even actually have a proper system in place. Okay, and then after doing that research, I started doing research on my company as a liquidity provider, which have been trading as well for the last 20 years, which have been managing risk as well. So that we could see a very clear difference where on the company side, we were managing things very professionally. We were automating all the trades. We were having proper risk management in place. So everything was very smooth on this side of the business, but on this side of the flow, there was a big gap. And then I was smiling to myself because I realized when I look back 20 years ago, I could see myself being here, doing exactly the same mistakes, doing exactly the same problem what they are doing now. But what I noticed gradually, maybe even easily after 10 years or more doing trading, slowly it start moving. My approach, my thinking, my thought of trading was becoming like how I manage my company, because I was doing this professionally and I was trading a lot of emotions.
So, but see the clear distinction.
Yes, but slowly it naturally moves into the right direction. And then after 10-12 years, I realized that something was happening, something was different. So I took this very seriously and I wanted to take this to a next level. I went deeper and deeper and started trading, creating a proper system in place. So here we are, finally we have a product where the key is that we want to do the right thing and make sure we don't do the wrong thing, right? So we have a product that mimics the behavior of my business with a very high correlation, and now I have a
product. It's getting very interesting as we speak. So let's get into the product.
I trade FX, oil and gold. I collect data. Leveraging 25 years of my experience, I created an advanced trading system which is very passive, long-term, highly focused on managing risk, and I automate all the trades.
Interesting.
I do not have a view of the market because I don't try to predict the unpredictable. Predicting the future about macro fundamentals like interest rate, currency, and I don't have the need to do so because my system doesn't require me to do so.
This is a very interesting point. Most people I meet who have a view about the markets, they always have something to say. But talking about this, it actually makes me think, if you look back into the US elections, nobody expected Donald Trump to win. He actually won. Or in fact, if he would win, markets would actually crash, but new highs were set.
Yeah.
Or even Brexit, who actually thought that Brexit would take place even one day before, and we're actually sleeping at night. Or this whole pandemic that we are facing this year. Who actually ever thought a virus would actually turn the whole world upside down? And this actually makes me think that actually we do face a lot of surprises.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
As Mark Twain says, history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. The details of the cycle may vary, but market either ranges or trends. When market trends, our system does well. I need one or two markets to trend and our system will be able to perform. As an example, let's look at oil prices over the past year. When the market is ranging, which is most of the time, our system trades small and typically incurs small losses. However, in Q1 of 2020, when oil price crashed, our system started to trade more aggressively and generated significant returns for the portfolio.
In today's highly uncertain and fragile markets, where interest rates are low, in fact negative in some regions, and stock valuations are high, especially the tech sector, people are afraid of investing into property, bond yields are lower, in fact negative. Most people are remaining cautious, but your product actually has a niche which actually looks for volatility. So whether we face a crisis now or markets tend to set new highs, your system would actually still do well.
Exactly. There has been a lot of volatility in 2020 and this has been my best trading year so far.